I'm Marc Davis, founder of a Moment Motor Company here in Austin, Texas, and what we do is we convert classic cars into electric vehicles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we have a lot of different customers who come to us who have a passion and excitement for driving something unique and something engaging. But if you've ever driven a classic car before with a 50-year-old internal combustion engine before, it requires a lot more expertise and a lot more patience than a lot of people are willing to deal with. So what we bring kind of, I like to talk about it as like responsible preservation, right? These are beautiful cars. These are incredibly gorgeous, iconic sports cars typically that people love and they engage with. And that experience of driving those is a unique one. You get out of the car and there's always somebody who wants to ask you a question about it. They love it. It's a really totally different experience than just driving your daily commuter. But we're enabling somebody to do that, to get these cars out on the road in a way where it's virtually maintenance-free, tremendous performance because we're putting these modern electric drivetrains in there, so it's a ton of acceleration and a lot of fun and the very high instant torque that you get out of these electric motors. It's super fun and engaging to drive, and we're preserving that driving experience for them and just kind of getting rid of all of the hassles of that.
Exhaust system.
Exactly. I mean, these cars, when they're done, you can park them in your living room. They don't stink. They don't do anything right there. We've removed all of the nasty stuff out of there.
Not worried about oil dripping or anything else.
We actually made this, which is kind of cute. Smell it. Smells like gasoline. So it's the only thing you would
have to have it.
Yeah, if you really have to have it, we'll give it to you as an air freshener.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us about the equipment. Like, what is this battery?
Yeah, so what we're doing, really what we have is a modular approach to everything. You see the cars here, they're all different, right? And the goal is to be able to convert as many different kinds of cars for people as possible. And so what we can do is we can say, look, we're going to use similar motors over and over again, but we're going to do it in a modular way so that depending on the size of the car, the performance requirements, the range requirements, we can create a solution almost like, I don't want to oversimplify, but almost like Lego bricks that we can kind of put together and make the solution. So on the motor side, over there on the far side, we don't need to travel over there. We have a system where there's a single one of these motors. Okay. And one of these motors will make 175 foot-pounds of torque and about 130 horsepower, which is great for a little car like the Mini or for a Volkswagen or whatever you. But what we also do is we make this mounting system with exchangeable end plates and rails that allow us to do a couple different things. One, we can bolt it up to different types of transmissions with this exchangeable transmission adapter. We can bolt it up to different chassis with these rails come unbolted to mount to, say, a Nissan or to a BMW or what have you. We can swap those out. And then as you're seeing this dual configuration, we can actually double the power of the system by adding two together. So we work really hard with the belt manufacturers and the motor manufacturers to be able to make this all work, and this basically gives you double. So now you're at 350 foot-pounds of torque, 250 horsepower. That's the kind of thing that you put in a very high-performance car or in a larger vehicle like a truck or SUV kind of thing. And then similarly, we have a very modular battery box technology. We're using, we don't build the motors, but we create the systems to kind of get them into these cars. Gotcha. Similarly, we don't build the batteries, but we make the systems that allow us to be very flexible with how we put them in the car. So these are Tesla Model S modules. Okay. So they come out of wrecked Teslas, basically. They're the highest energy density battery on the market for sure. So it makes sense for us to use it, especially in these cars where weight is a concern and efficiency is a concern. But what we have is a box technology that allows us to put, say, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 in a box, and that lets us put the battery pack wherever in the car there's space for it, and then wherever there is the need from a weight balance perspective, right?
Gotcha. So you can balance the car out.
Exactly. And so I think a lot of times people look at this process and they think, we'll take out the motor, we'll take out the engine, the internal combustion engine, we'll put a motor in there, and we'll go wherever the gas tank was, we'll take that out, we'll put some batteries there, right?
You could be looking at weird weight distribution.
One of these motors only weighs 120 pounds. Even that there is about 250 pounds. Right. You take out an internal combustion engine, it could weigh anywhere from like 300 to 500 pounds, right? And then
that car was made for
that, right? And then you take a battery box and you put 7 of these modules together for a typical. That's almost 400 or 500 pounds, right? And so if you don't think about the balance of the vehicle, you're going to end up with a very possibly dangerous and possibly just at least an unstable car, right? So we really want to preserve, again, back to preserving that driving experience. When you drive these cars, it should feel the way that it was, driving these cars. And we use the original transmissions, so these motors, made up the transmissions. You get to drive them and shift them just like
nice.
Yeah, super fun.
Right.
You get all that torque. So much fun being able to use the original transmission and drive it kind of how it was originally intended.
Right.
It just adds to the experience, right? Like if we think about this, electric conversions, this isn't about fundamentally doing something that is economical or anything like that. This is an expensive thing to do.
Yes.
What you're doing is you're allowing these beautiful cars to kind of get back out on the road,
yes.
and in a way that's kind of responsible and enjoyable, right? But the reason that you want to drive a 1978 280Z or a 1970 BMW 2002 is because of what it feels like to drive one of those cars.
That's right. Yeah, I had this same car.
Yes, and you loved it, right? Exactly.
Yes,
and
same year, same car.
Driving that car is every bit as enjoyable as driving your cars were, and then some, because there's a lot more torque, a lot more power, and it's simpler. You don't have to deal with wondering what that sound is, what that smell is, why there's a leak, puddle leaking on the car, all of the hassles of driving.
I had to get a little thing, drive the clutch, and all that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So part of this is really, keeping that experience, but trying to get rid of, that.
And most people that have cars like this, I would say they don't drive every single day, but they're like weekend drivers. They take them out for a little jaunt and cruise around. So they're not going to be out going across country.
No, and so range-wise, we're probably in the anywhere from 80 to 150 miles, depending on the battery pack that we can configure. Part of the challenge is they're old cars, swoopy cars that are hard to, you can't fit an entire Tesla's worth of batteries in it, right? Like exactly. So, but you can get some good range, and for the intended use, which can be daily use.
Right.
And the beautiful thing about this is, I always think about this. I've been a lifelong classic car owner, and you come down into the garage, and you're like, I just need to run to the store. There's your Honda right there, and then your 68 Porsche or whatever it is, right? You're like, starting that is like a huge commitment. I gotta warm it up. I gotta make sure it's that ticking sound that was here last time isn't there, and what's that smell? And I don't know. I seem to be missing on cylinder 3 and all that stuff. It just makes you go, I'll just take the Honda, right? Versus these, you just get in, you turn the key, go, right? Like it's just no more than just done.
You
click,
just jump in, go.
Yeah, just go. And it's super fun and easy, and it makes these cars more accessible and easier to drive. That little Mini gets driven every single day. It's got a text tag on it. It's ready to go, right?
Ready to roll,
exactly.
right? Well, is that from here?
It is here. So most of these cars are customer cars, and because we're based in Austin, we have a lot of Austin-based customers. But we're starting to grow, and we're starting to have more customers in different locations. So
gotcha. I love what you're doing. This is fantastic.
Thank you. That's really cool.